Hello and welcome. It is the 20th day of May 2017. Welcome. I'm going to go over the Bitcoin charts on multiple time frames with some trend line analyses. But before, I want to first talk about these 5 stages within a boom bust cycle. Go over why silver is going to have some magnificent gains and really soon, probably. And then go over the charts. So I'm going to read this, the first stage. You are crazy to get into Bitcoin and even with the alternate coins. People look at you funny and change the conversation. You explain you only need little time to get started and they shrug. You explain this to many people and nobody is interested. Stage 2. They don't think you're as crazy and notice you're making profits. However, they are not life-changing, nor may they think they can hold the gains as, well, this has to crash. Stage 3. They see your lifestyle change, Bitcoin portfolio balance, Bitcoin price increases if in bull market, and they are now interested and they will now invest. And I write in here Bitcoin price increases if in bull market because when they're seeing all the gains and when people see markets going up, they want to ride the wave higher as they fear and panic on the way lower. And we're on the way higher, so this really induces people to invest when Bitcoin is rising like that. Stage 4, markets can only go up with a large rise in players. And that's what's happening. The increase of people, I've seen it increase like threefold in only a few months, and that's extreme. Gains are coming in that it becomes almost impossible to lose money, and they tell their friends. So you're winning. Oh, so the person you know gets into it, and maybe three of your friends get into it, say in June, July. And then they're winning. They're winning as well because it doesn't matter which ones you pick. Most of them win. And if you pick the combination of many, you're just bound to win because more winners than losers. So they're all winning and they tell their friends as well. And the final stage, there's not as many new players that will arrive or come in and the bubble is soon to pop. When making money becomes hard for too many people, expect a huge burst. And when not many new people come in, well, that means they can't get their initial Ethereum, their initial Litecoin, their initial all these other things. And that stops these continuous bull markets from taking place. Let's continue on. Let's talk about why silver is, I think, going to have some interesting gains. The Webbot has predicted a decent to amazing uptrend to start in the near horizon. They predict that bullion dealers will be selling in very large quantities. And here's a question. How many Bitcoin investors are bullish on gold and or silver? As when the community started, it was, the reason I knew about it when it was pennies and under $1 was because people like Da Vinci and several other people that I was following on YouTube also into gold and silver that was, you check this Bitcoin idea. Because it's a form against the central banks, as is the gold and silver. It's a form against inflation, again, as is the precious metal. So of those people that are bullish on gold and silver, how many of them know how to buy physical metals with Bitcoin? Or we'll find out in the near future. Yeah, okay. How many of these people understand that the value of their dollars from months back buys silver at maybe under $1 an ounce based on their crypto gains? How you doing? So if you kind of wonder when Webbot's talking about these insane numbers, and they're talking about multiple hundreds coming within a year or so, that is insane, to say the least. So now let's go over each chart, hourly all the way to the weekly time frame. And I've drawn in these 2 trend lines, the support and the resistance. And you could even draw another one within this marking here for the short term because you break this first one that's connected the last couple of days. And well, maybe you'll make a move up to this higher area. The uptrend may be a target for the moves, but the 2100 is Fibonacci upside, and 2300 is a web bot call from weeks ago. The 2000 number does not amount to any key resistance, and it's a large number in psychology. And this is from my analysis. I see 2000 as an area normally where you would have no reason to want to sell, and you'd want to maybe even buy to at least get another 100 basis points minimum. So let's move on to the next chart. Let's go on to the hourly, to the 6-hour chart. And I've got 3 different trend lines as this goes back to the April time frame. I got support in red, which is based if there's any key pullback, somewhere around that area you can see might be an area for support. Then the blue line, which is an area that supported these 2 points in here and then resisted this. Yeah, you could make a bunch of different ones, maybe make it a little lower to reach this point, and either way. And now you got this one that reached this support level, this one here, this resistance and this resistance, and could it take that? Well, that's a long ways away. However, 1900 was just taken out, this previous resistance. And it has only breached that level so far by only around 5%. So that isn't that much of a move, and it's already at 2000. Therefore, if it's resistance and it only goes down like 30, 40, 50, 60 bucks and goes right back up, then that's not much resistance at all, then, is it? Let's move this on to the daily time frame. There's no trend lines here, but the market was neutral where the box line is for the better part of 3 months. It broke resistance with one tiny correction, as this is the very tiny correction here on the break of 19 that started at the start of May at around 1600, and it just went sideways for a few days, a small price drop, nothing much. And then when it broke, it went all the way up to 19. And since that point, there's a solid sideways correction, because first it dropped in price 300, so that's about near 15%, and then about a week or so of going sideways, and it is now just broken, and it's at 2000, and I'm supposed to say that's a resistance number? Not on this particular time frame. And let's take a look at the final chart. I got a couple trend lines drawn in here. The larger one from the start is the support from the Mt. Gox Pioneer era revisited. Are we going to revisit this number? Because it's got to go well north of 5,000. But that might be a pipe dream. It really may. But this level of resistance has been taken out, and now it's barely above it at 2,000. And I'm supposed to believe that this is resistance? Yeah, I've seen a lot of times it pierces above the trend and makes it back down to the lower part and maybe revisit some sort of support level. Maybe. But again, this pattern long term is breaking out. And you look at the number at the top, the price scaling, and it's a logarithmic chart. That's the only way I like to see these kinds of charts, because you can get better, it's just better to research and analyze. But this 5,000 number doesn't seem like anything more than just a move. A move is okay, so you break a key level. A key level is previous resistance. Make your move. Where does it go to? And okay, maybe even 4,000 or so in the area. And now we have this 2,300 level that Webbot's talking about, going several hundred points. And what's a bullish pattern? And maybe you have this move to 2,300 and it makes a move anywhere within this range. Maybe, well, I think the best two places for where support would be found after a 2,300 spot, I can really only come up with two areas. One would be somewhere in here, And 2 would be somewhere in here. So I don't think, again, if this thing on a retracement, if it retraces, if it goes up to 23-ish area and pulls back, or even if it pulls back now, I don't think this is an area that's going to have good support, which will be roughly between 1400 and 1600. That's like the free fall area. If 1600 doesn't hold on any type of pullback, then I would be expecting a move down to previous high, because this high also coincides with the Mt. Gox high, as it's a double hit high. So that's what I would expect as far as, oh, where's the bottom going to be if it goes to 23? Either or is my best guess. All right then, so that will conclude tonight's or early morning analysis, and have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.